What is up, dreamers? Figment here, coming to you straight from your imagination, and today I'm going to be doing my deck profile for the deck I took to the North American Intercontinental Championships held in Columbus, Ohio this year. Now, the deck I played for the tournament was Sylveon GX, which the deck's main focus is to discard all your energy from your opponent's side of the field and win the game by deck out. Now, Sylveon GX, for those of you who don't know, its main attack that you're going to be using is Magical Ribbon. Allows you to search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand at any given point. And then the other 2 attacks, Fairy Wind, which hits for 110 damage, and then Plea GX, which allows you to pick 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon and put them straight up to their hand. The main attack, though, of course, you're going to be using is Magical Ribbon to just grab cards that you need in whatever situation that you need. Now, of course, the EV that you run, this is the only EV that you play in the deck, which is Energy Evolution, which allows you to evolve straight into Sylveon just by attaching a single Fairy Energy per turn. So just by attaching a Fairy Energy from your hand on the first opening turn, you can evolve straight into Sylveon. This allows you to not get donked with low 60 HP, and you go straight into 200 HP just from your opening turn. Now, a couple other Pokemon here in the deck is Ralts and Gardevoir. Gardevoir is mainly just there as an extra additional attacker and also a way to attach energy freely per turn, but it's also there for the GX move, Twilight GX. Twilight GX allows you to shuffle 10 cards from your discard pile into your deck, so if you get into a situation later in the game where you need to just discard cards and maybe draw a lot of things and then end up, oh, well, I've played a lot of cards now, and oh, now I'm just going to Twilight GX, bring back maybe a ton of Puzzles of Time, whatever other cards you may need at the given time. Generally speaking, though, it is mainly there also for the Infinite Force attack, which does 30 damage times the number of energy attached to both the active and your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, the other Pokemon here, Spiritomb. Spiritom's ability, which is called Cursed Whirlpool, as long as this is your active Pokemon, your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat. Now, there are only 8 cards in the format that allow you to get out of the Spiritomb lock whenever it's active and your opponent can't retreat. And if they need to retreat, those cards are Ultra Road, Invasion. Both of these are from Solgaleo and Dawn Wings, respectively. There's Switch, Escape Rope, Guzma, and I believe Olympia, and there's 2 other cards I can't think of at the moment, but a lot of those don't see often play other than Guzma. So if you get into a situation where you can have only Spiritomb in your active, and your opponent cannot attack you with whatever you brought up into the active spot, you can basically win games just with Spiritomb by itself. Now, moving into the stadium cards that you run in the deck, you're in Parallel City. Parallel City just reduces your bench and/or your opponent's bench down to 3, while also reducing the damage from Grass, Fire, and Water Pokemon by 20. A lot of times you're going to be using it to limit your opponent's bench to 3, just so you can put them in awkward situations, maybe a Plea GX, putting them down to 1 Pokemon on their bench, or maybe just limiting their bench and limiting how much they can set up in the early game. Last stadium card to run the deck is Lysander Labs, which you don't see a lot of play in a lot of decks. And it's mainly just there for the Pokemon tool cards. And whenever this is in play, basically your tool cards have no effect. So, free way to just shut off tool cards however you need at any given point. And mainly that's there for Choice Bands and Float Stones. If you can bring something into the active that can't retreat or doesn't have energy to retreat and it has a Float Stone on it instead, you could get a Pokemon with a lot of retreat costs stuck into the active, and unless they have a way to get rid of the Lysander Labs, whether their own stadium or a Field Blower, you could potentially lock them into a very awkward situation with discarding energies to a Pokemon that they don't really want to commit a lot of energy to begin with. Now, speaking of energy, Energy Denial is the name of the game here, and that's why I run 4 Team Flare Grunts. Team Flare Grunt, for those of you who don't know at home, it allows you to discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. You run 4 of those, of course. That's mainly there, of course, to just get rid of energy however you need it, whenever you need to. And mainly, of course, since this is a stall deck, you want to chain Team Flare Grunts as often as you can against basic energy. Special energy, you run cards to get rid of, such as Enhanced Hammer, to get specially just for special energy. So the main reason you want to have Flare Grunt is just so you can target down the basic energy. Unfortunately, that's only for the active, so if Pokemon is not in the active, it won't be as efficient, but generally speaking, it can be used for that purpose. Now, a couple other supporters that you run in the deck is Lusamine. Lusamine allows you to pick up 2 supporter cards from your discard, or any combination of 2 supporter cards and stadium cards from your discard pile. So if you played maybe all your Flare Grunts and you need to get them back, you use Lusamine. You can grab 2 Team Flare Grunts with that, or grab whatever else you need. You play a 1 of Lysander Labs, so maybe at some point you need to Lusamine, bring back whatever you need. It's a very versatile card, and you can use it however you need. You run 2 just for the situation of you get into a situation where you need to just chain Team Flareground or chain, I believe, Team Rocket's handiwork. You can use Lusamine. This goes into your discard pile. Now you Lusamine, bring back what other card you need, and get a Lusamine back. And you can get an infinite chain just by bringing back Lusamines. So it's honestly not that hard to pull off. That's the only reason you run 2. If you ran 1, you'd get into a situation where you play a Lusamine. Well, now you can't play it at any other point during the game unless you have a double puzzle. So generally speaking, that's the main reason you run 2, and no more than that. Now you run 2 Aceroll in the deck. Aceroll allows you to pick up a Pokemon however you need it. If you get damaged and you just need to avoid a knockout for the following turn, you can just use Aceroll to pick it up and maybe promote something like a Gardevoir. Now, with the energy that you've picked up as well with the Aceroll, you can attach that to Gardevoir maybe for a knockout. But generally speaking, Aceroll is just a useful card to get rid of damage. Now, your 1 of supporters in the deck, you run a 1 of N, which allows you to shuffle, Gladion, Team Rocket's Handiwork, Delinquent, Professor Kukui, and a Guzma. Now that's 6 1-ofs with the ability to Magical Ribbon and go for whatever cards you need at any given point during the game for a single energy attachment. Running a lot of 1-ofs is not a problem. That's why you run a 1-1 line of the Gardevoir and the Spiritomb and the Lysanders. You don't have really a problem running a lot of 1-ofs in your deck because you can just get them whenever you need it. And on the event that something is prized, you do run a Gladion, which allows you to get that from your prize cards. Now, a lot of the reasons you don't run 2 of these, 2N isn't really necessary because ideally you're not going to get into a situation where you're going to want to N as opposed to disrupting them with a Flare Grunt or reducing damage from an Acerola or a Handiwork. And most times your opponent's going to be playing N on you to disrupt you with the Magical Ribbons. So it allows you to draw more cards yourself, maybe even go for things that you need them. But yeah, generally speaking, you don't really need to run a lot of draw support in that regard since you have a way to just draw cards however you need. In addition to that, the Delinquent, you just need 1 of us because you can just Lusamine and pick up any of these supporter cards back to your hand however you need them. Now moving into the item cards of the deck, you run a 4 Puzzle of Time. This is again just for resource management, being able to just get back at whatever you need. If you maybe discard something early on or have to discard something from an opponent's Delinquent, or you've maybe played a lot of your Team Flaregrounds or a lot of your Acerollers, or had to play both of your Kukuis or your Lusamines or whatever you need to get back, you can just Puzzle Time, get that back. As well as that goes for Pokemon. If you get into an awkward situation where you don't really have a way to get back Pokemon, you can just use Double Puzzle to get them back, as well as Parallels or whatever else you may need. Now, other item cards around the deck here are 4 Nest Balls. 4 Nest Ball, this is mainly to prevent from getting donked at any game. You can search your deck for basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench. So potentially if you start with a Spiritomb or Routes in the active, not an ideal start. You always want to start with an Eevee. So now you can just Nest Ball, grab an Eevee, attach an energy, and prevent from being knocked out that turn. In addition to that, you can Nest Ball if you've maybe started with another Eevee just to get another Pokemon out. Or if you're going second, this is my most common play, you start Eevee, Nest Ball, go for a Ralts, and now out of your Magical Ribbon for that turn, you can get a way to heal, and then a Rare Candy and a Gardevoir just so you can have a Gardevoir for the following turn. And that works surprisingly well. It hits more times than you think. So it's very efficient in just getting whatever you need at the time, or also as a free deck search at any given point. I actually had a game at Nationals where I used Nest Ball, looked through my deck again, and I was like, oh, well, all my Sylveon are prized, I'm just going to scoop and go to game 2. So it's a free way to deck search if you don't have a Magical Ribbon yet. It's just a free way to look through your deck before you use the Magical Ribbon that turn, maybe to plan out whatever other cards you want to play for that turn. Just generally a useful card. Now, another item card around the deck, 4 Max Potion. Max Potion, again, just there similar to Acerola, just there to heal and prevent damage, and to prevent the amount of damage you're taking. Another item card you run on the deck, Enhanced Hammer. Enhanced Hammer discards a special energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. This is, again, just there to discard special energy. Of course, you just want to energy deny as much as you can, prevent your damage that you're taking. That's why you run such a high number of a lot of these cards to disrupt. Now, Enhanced Hammer, most decks only try to run 4. I opt to run 3, just because you have Double Puzzle to get those back if you need it. And in a lot of situations, you can typically just Team Flare Grunt whatever special energy is on the field anyways. That's typically in the active. So there's no real downfall only running 3. and I've been I did a lot of playtesting like prior to and at League Cups, and I got in situations where I had the 4th Enhanced Hammer in my hand, but at that point I've gotten rid of all their special energies, or they don't have special energies out because they're holding them in their hand, and I just like got into situations where, man, gee, I wish this was another energy or another nest ball or whatever else I might have needed at the time, or a supporter card to disrupt. So generally speaking, running 3, not a bad thing to run. 1 of item cards, you run a 1 of bodybuilding dumbbells, 1 of counter catcher, rare candy, field blower, and red card. Now, bodybuilding dumbbells card not seen very often. It can get blocked by the Lysander Labs, but it adds an extra 40 HP to your stage 1 Pokemon's attacks, or not attacks, geez, HP just in general. So when attached to a Sylveon, it gives it 240 HP. This is just generally to, again, disrupt your opponent or way to take prizes. So if your opponent can't take prizes by taking a knockout in that way, you've just increased your HP, and now they can't get a knockout maybe for the easy 200 damage that they had previously prepared for. So, generally speaking, bodybuilding dumbbell is a good card. It does get countered by Lysander Labs, but typically in the games that you're going to want to play down dumbbells, you won't have a lab up. Or you can be self-conscious of when you're attaching that. If you already have 200 damage on your Sylveon, like play a max potion beforehand, or just get it off the field before you play the Lysander Labs. Another 1 of item cards, counter catcher. If you go down in prizes, which in a lot of situations, if you can't necessarily stop their way of getting knockouts or stringing damage on you, if you don't have a good, efficient way of disrupting, counter catcher allows you to just bring up one of your opponent's Pokemon, maybe just lock them into the active for a turn, or maybe if you even want to attack them that turn, you can use counter catcher, maybe attach a DC to Sylveon, chain it with a Kukui, and now you've just taken a prize card, maybe like a Baby Buzzwole, or a Diancie, or another Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. Now another 1 of Rare Candy. Rare Candy is just there for Gardevoir and Ralts in order to get that. Field Blower, just there to disrupt your opponents if they have Choice Bands out and you don't have a Lysander Labs, or maybe you have a Dumbbells out and you don't want to play down the Lysander Labs, you can use Field Blower, get rid of a couple Choice Band, maybe even get rid of a couple Float Stone if you want to disrupt them in that way. But generally speaking, Field Blower again there. Also to maybe even discard Stadium cards if there's something in play and maybe you don't have a Stadium card of your own to bounce it with. Field Blower is very useful. Your last item card is Red Card. Now, Red Card, generally speaking, is just good if you draw it in your first opening hand. Now you can use Red Card, force your opponent to shuffle, draw 4, reduce their draw early on, just to maybe even slow them down a little bit. This is your main key to victory if you're playing against a Malamar deck, is to Red Card and Delinquent them simultaneously while also playing a Parallel City to reduce their bench. That sounds like a lot of stuff to get in the same turn, but with Sylveon Magic Ribbon, you can grab the 3 cards that you need, pull that off very easily. This goes for a lot of situations, honestly. If you can typically grab whatever you need with Sylveon. Of course, you can be disrupted by your opponent playing N on you or a red card of their own. Generally speaking, though, you'll have... You shuffle, you draw 6 every single time, or almost every single time. So when you're drawing 6 cards, you're typically going to draw into something else to help prolong your game, or a way to draw and attach an energy, or maybe even disrupt, or you might even get lucky and draw into the exact same 3 cards. Think, hey, crazier things have happened. But the last portion of this deck is going to be the energy, of course. You run 2 double colorless energy. That's just there, of course, just to hit the extra... Just attach a DC to a Sylveon. Now you can use the Plea GX on turn 2. It is also there for the Gardevoir GX, so you can maybe do some extra damage with that. And you run a whopping 11 energy in terms of Fairy Energy. Now, shouldn't come as a surprise because of the Energy Evolution. You always want to start with a Fairy Energy in your opening hand. And when you run this many, you're not going to go into a lot of games where you don't draw into it. It takes up pretty much a 1/6 of the deck. So generally speaking, you're not going to draw into an opening hand without at least getting 1 Fairy Energy or top decking a Fairy Energy. And that does come into a situation you're going to have a couple prized most games. But generally speaking, I'd rather have a couple Fairy Energies prized than a couple of my 1-ofs prized. And I guess I should go over that. You run a total, let's count this up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. You're on 15 1-of cards. That is 25% of your deck. That honestly isn't too bad. It may sound bad having 25% of your deck being like one of the cards you only play 1 of. As soon as it's prized, you can't necessarily get it. When you play the Gladion, on the event that your Gladion's prized, there's not a lot of situations where that happens, or you get into a situation where that occurs. You're more likely to have maybe a single puzzle prized, or a max potion, or a flare grunt, or one of your higher 4 of cards can be prized. But generally speaking, having a 1-of prized isn't the death of you, especially with a Gladian in the deck to freely allow you to get whatever you need at any given time. But anyways, this is the list. I wouldn't change a single thing if I had to do a do-over Nationals again. Unfortunately, I only played against a single Zoroark deck throughout the course of the day, but I had a lot of fun, I've got to admit. I played against a lot of really cool players. I tried getting everyone's name that I played against. Shoutouts to Steven Toman from Anaheim, California. He played Buzzrock. He had double Super Rod and 3 ends, so that was fun. I didn't get some good draws in that game, so I lost there. I faced Nick from Toledo, Ohio. He was playing... I should really have this set up easier. Buzzwole, Lycanroc. Nice guy there. And then third round, I played against a Lapras deck. I don't have his name wrote down here, but it was a really cool guy. He raised his World's Invite, so best of luck to him. I ended up beating the Lapras. It was honestly really awkward. The main way I was able to win is just by Gardevoir taking prizes that way. My fourth round, I faced against a cool guy, Sean Kelly. I was playing Rainbow Road, and if you guys actually go over to the Plodexmon channel, I will most likely be making a Fun Deck Friday video regarding that at some point, just because the way he played it was super fun, and I really liked it, and a really cool guy. But, oh yeah, then I have, like, the scribbles on my page from playing 2 Malamar decks. Both the players played against really cool guys. DJ from New Jersey. I don't have the name of this round 6 person, and that's where I don't think I have many other notes from the rest of the tournament. But generally speaking, really nice players played against. I believe I played a player that was going for top 22 in Europe. I believe he secured his day 2 invitation with that, so congrats to him. The round 9 player playing Zoroark, shoutouts to him, and me getting 390 damage loaded up on a Gardevoir of that crap. Generally speaking, though, I faced a lot of Buzzrock, I faced a lot of Malamar. I unfortunately didn't face a lot of Zoroark decks, but I'll live. Sylveon will live to tell the tale another day, and a lot of Sylveon players did make day 2, so I'm not really disappointed. I'm glad to see a Sylveon at least made it. I made an okay deck choice, but generally speaking, this is the list. If you guys want to check it out, I mentioned earlier, at Plodexmon, we're getting more consistent on our uploading schedule over there. We'll have Fun Deck Friday, Meta Deck Monday, Theory Deck Thursday. We've got all kinds of fun stuff. If you guys want to go check out that channel, I should have it pulled up here in the next couple seconds on your screen. If not, links will be in the description as usual. In addition to that, I will be streaming a little more off of Twitch. I'm looking to get more into speedrunning Darkness of Time for Explorers of Time and that whole series. If you guys want to go check that out, I'll link my Twitch channel in the description as well. But generally speaking, guys, peace out, keep on dreaming, and peace out.